Kia ora, ladies and gentlemen. This is Leonard for the Ultimate Growth Experience podcast, and today I have Gamini Jayasuriya.
Yeah.
So he's a current University of Auckland lecturer at the business school in the economics department. He is a very popular figure at the university as well. He was my Econ 111 lecturer. He currently teaches an MBA course at AUT as well. So at 82 years, he has taught economics for 50 years, all around the world, including the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Holland, and his native, Sri Lanka. He has even a Facebook page dedicated to him called Gamini Jayasuriya is the man. So Gamini, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. So Gamini, you are one of the most popular lecturers at the university, and most students won't stop talking about you, even myself. So what inspired you to teach economics and continue to inspire students like myself?
The main reason I have to inspire students is because economics on its own is a boring subject. You have to make it interesting and then inspire people to, study it and get interested. That's one thing. Why I started economics, teaching economics, I can't tell you the reason. In my time, we went to university, we graduated, there were jobs available straight away. There was very little unemployment if you're educated. So as a result, I happened to be good in economics, so my professor said, why don't you specialize in economics? So I specialized, and then I was looking for a job, but before I could look for a job, my professor said, why don't you join the university staff straight away? So I joined the staff straight away.
And you've been...
And you've been teaching for, this is my 60th year of teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you obviously enjoy it as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love teaching.
Like, what gets you to really push ourselves? Is that because most econ lecturer, they just go through the theories, they talk about, supply and demand, Keynesian economics, Milton Friedman's philosophy, but you tend to be really, really passionate.
Whenever I do something, I'm very passionate. You see, and teaching is something I have done. I have enjoyed it thoroughly. And I like to do that job very well because I know I'm doing a great service to those students because I'm teaching them something they find difficult to understand on their own. So my desire to help them makes me passionate. That's why sometimes you may have remembered even. I get quite excited sometimes in the lecture when I talk about certain areas of economics because I'm really interested in pushing it as hard as possible to the students. And then they get interested. Because in a class, you have to maintain the interest of the students. Otherwise, they start talking and getting distracted. To keep them attracted, to keep them attentive, you have to push it very hard. That's why, yeah.
And you mentioned, for example, the John F. Kennedy tax cuts and examples in the classroom that really get us, always engaged.
Correct, that's right, yes.
Exactly, yeah. So, like I mentioned previously, Gamini, there is a Facebook page dedicated to the internet. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm very happy about it. I'm very proud about it. I'm very proud about it because not many people get that.
Yes.
And it's something that also makes me known to other people. I know some people before they come from school to university, they know about me. So if I'm teaching one stream and if someone else is teaching some other stream, they normally want to get into my stream, you see. I remember in the 1990s, I remember, we did not have the business school. We had only the B28, the current B28.
The library.
That can accommodate about 400 students. And it used to be so crowded because there were two lecturers. I was doing it and someone else was doing it. I can't remember. My lecture theatre, they are seated on the ground. They are standing near the door because they all want to come to my stream. And one day the dean came, Deputy Dean Susan Lawrence. She came and said, Gamini, we can't do this because this is against the fire regulations. I said, look, I'm not doing it. They just come. I don't know who is registered, who is not. I can't mark attendance in the class. So they were trying to solve the problem as much as possible. And then, of course, they made it two streams and gave the second stream to me. So that solved the problem.
And the page itself has 3,900 likes.
Sorry?
The Facebook page has 3,900 likes.
Oh,
It's brilliant. There's a lot of students. And when you look on the student reviews as well, it says, exceptional, Gamini, the man. And that just goes on and on and on. It never stops. And so I think a lot of class, your students from, let's say, 2005 and 2004 might be listening to this, and and they still write a lot of comments even now.
Really?
Yes, yes, it looks fantastic.
I'm very pleased.
Exactly.
You know why I am pleased? I feel I am serving society. I feel I am helping other people with some knowledge that I have. Because helping students is, I think, a very meritorious act, because these are the children who will run this country in 20 years' time, or any country for that matter, maybe Korea. But I have helped them to acquire knowledge and to understand things. So I'm very happy doing that, yes.
And you've helped me understand more about economics, I think, because particularly in macroeconomics, you specialize.
Macro is fantastic.
You specialize in macroeconomics.
I get so excited when I do. Micro, sometimes a bit boring. But macro is really what's happening in society. It tells you how are you affected by exchange rates, interest rate, are you affected by the GDP. All that is very practical. Macro is a fantastic area. It's the best area of economics. Is macro.
Would you recommend that to any student?
Any student, I'll say,
macroeconomics.
Do the macroeconomics. That is where you learn economics. Some of the microeconomics is a little too theoretical sometimes. It's a little out of the world. But macro is really what's in the world. I mean, look at the GDP, the living standard and so on.
CPI, FDI.
Interest rates, exchange rates affect every one of us. Every foreign student who comes here is affected by the exchange rate.
So you've told me before in our previous meeting that your beloved class, Econ 111, was shut down.
Yeah, it is shut down. I'm very sad about it. Because when we had 101 and 111, everybody who did 101 with me came to 111, you see, and they were, I think, fascinated by 111. You did 111.
I did 111 with you,
And that's one of the main reasons we got more students for 211 and 201 and 311 and 301 and so on. We got many more students to our department because of 111. I was discussing this with Debasis just 2 days back. That it's really a big mistake we have made dropping 111. And the 151 course, I just walked out after teaching it. It has macro, but not much, not enough. It has too much micro. I'm teaching things like, funny things like, these externalities, how they affect. Externalities are fine, but there are a lot of other things that are not of much practical use. Anyway, I do whatever they tell me to do.
Good point. Well, you're hired by the University of Auckland, obviously.
I have no power over these things.
Senior lecturer, at least you're making a big difference to my life and other students'
life. I know
life.
so many people.
Exactly.
So
yes.
many people, yes.
Precisely. Interesting question. In the first week of the semester, you give your phone numbers to students. I've never had a lecturer or professor or any education person like yourself. So what made you consider that decision?
Several reasons. One is I make myself available to my students to get anything sorted out, any problem sorted out. Second reason is at my age, I have done all the things I want to do for myself. I think my time is my students now. Because I don't do anything in my life other than teaching. I eat and I sleep and I do some things. I travel on holiday and so on. But there's nothing special that I'm trying to achieve anymore now. There's nothing that I want to buy or something. I don't want to buy a new car. I have a car. That is good enough. So as a result, my entire time is for the student. And I think, what the hell? The student has a real headache at 10:30 in the night and tomorrow is the exam. Who can help him? Not God.
You.
Me. I'm the one who can help. That's what I tell them. Only I can help you in that last desperate minute of yours. And they are relieved. What happens to me? I'm woken up, that's all. My wife has no objection. My wife thinks I'm doing a good thing. Sometimes she tells her friends, it's a damn nuisance. Students are calling in the night. I said, no, it's just the previous night before the exam. Call me. Because I'm the best person to call. Not anyone else on this earth. I'm the best person. So why not help them? And also I always think, you are the beloved, valuable son of your parents. Just like I value my sons and my children, your parents value you.
Good point.
What's the harm in helping them? It's great. to help them. I like help for my children. Why not help someone else's child? They'll be ever grateful to you. And I have done a really good deed with my time. That 5 minutes I spend at 11 o'clock in the night, I think I feel, I don't know, I get some feeling in my heart.
Fulfillment, perhaps?
Yes, yeah. Fulfillment, yeah, I feel so happy. I have helped the student because tomorrow is exam. Any child, any student I teach here is the precious son or daughter of parents, of some parents somewhere in the world. That's my philosophy. That is why I give the phone number. Nobody else does. I know that one because they do not want students intruding into a privacy. I have no privacy when it comes to students. I have no privacy. No.
Although
they are a part of me.
Wow. Well, that giving the phone number to your students does have some negative implications, though, doesn't it? For example, calling in the middle of a poker game, for example.
Well, I still answer. You know that?
Yeah, I know.
Remember, on Fridays, poker is at different houses, and whatever that house is, I tell them, look, call me at this house, but up to midnight, not after that, because my friends won't like it. So when I play poker, they phone me sometimes, and I stop the poker and I help them. And so many times, night before because they are desperate. They're desperate. They want some help so badly, and it's only me who can give that help. No one else can.
And I think that's why a lot of students.
That's why I give the number.
Yes.
It's not a big deal for me. Even my poker players say, "What the hell, Gamini? You're giving this number." I said, "You don't realize. If your son was in my class, you won't say that."
I'm sure John Key's son would also appreciate that as well. Max Key was in his class before as well in Econ 1-1.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, correct. I heard, well, we're talking about poker, right? You're an avid lover. You play with your wife, you play with your friends and everybody.
Yeah.
What made you into it? And
we started this in 1963.
1963.
No, 1964, after when I was working. Some friends said, it's an interesting game, we'll play this. And we started playing the game in a very small way. Then it happens, every Friday we started playing. Then we came to New Zealand in 1989, and I introduced the game to other people, the other friends. We are 11 of us. And I introduced the game, and every Friday night we play. Every Friday night from 7 o'clock till midnight we play. And we lose money, we win money. They are all small sums of money, We don't pay for very high stakes and low stakes. The maximum you can lose lose in a game is $10. That's all. So no more than that.
Maximum is $10. The amount.
No more. $10 is the biggest bet.
Didn't you say you lost a little bit of money yesterday from that
game?
Yeah,
I lost.
How much did you lose?
I think I lost about 40, but no, about 60.
Oh.
My wife won about 25, so
balance
altogether maybe about 35.
Minus 35.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The entertainment, the happiness, the joking and the laughing, and the meal that we enjoy at that house. It's a part of fun. And Friday night is good because we work 5 days, and Friday night we have some relaxation.
And you need that time for that.
It's more socializing than really gambling. You see, we gamble, true, but it's more socializing.
Do you watch poker at all? Or?
No. I don't. Very rarely I watch poker. Sometimes I go to the casino.
Oh.
But we don't play for big stakes. If I go for a meal or something like that to one of the restaurants, we might drop in at the casino for a few minutes. Yeah.
So you're a casual poker player who likes to enjoy.
We are not professionals. No.
And you get the most fulfillment from teaching students and coming back home and.
My biggest thrill is teaching students.
And driving all the way to Massey University, 100 kilometers per hour on the motorway.
You know all that.
You told me. You told me last week.
I tell the class this.
Yeah. And I find that really entertaining. And actually, Gamini, can you tell us that story where your wife...
Policeman. You see, one day I was doing 140, I think, in 100 area. No, that's 90 area.
90 area.
And the police stopped me. Normally, I know where the police cars are, where the cameras are. This fellow was hiding somewhere. And the police stopped me, and the policewoman got down and came. I think I told the story in the class. And she said, give your license. You're breaking the law. What's the hurry for you to drive at this speed? I said, look, I got a lecture at Massey. I just finished when I talked in uni. And I have to drive a little fast to get there in time. I don't like to be late for the lecture. She said, well, that's not an excuse. There is going to be a fine. And then the policeman who was in the car, he overheard the thing and he got down from the car and came. And he said, do you think you are God to drive like this at this kind of speed? I said, no, I never think I'm God. He said, my wife and daughter both think you're God. I said, why? I had taught both of them. They let me off. No fine, nothing. He told the policeman, throw that away.
Oh my goodness. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. It's a very interesting story. I tell this to various people.
And your wife proclaims that you drive safer when you drive fast.
I think so. Because I've been driving fast all my life. If I drive slow, I have a problem. I hit something. Because you know why? I tend to relax too much then.
Right.
When I'm driving, I'm concentrating really hard. The minute I start driving at 35 and 40, I relax. And that's when things can go wrong. Because you can never relax at the steering wheel. You have to be 100% attentive to everything. It's very automatic, but still, you are paying attention. At 30, you relax.
Oh my goodness. Next question. So Gamini, you were passionate economics when you were younger, and did you have any intellectual heroes that you had as a young man?
Yes, I wrote down the three.
Who are they?
I'll tell you the three people.
Yeah, sure.
One is John Howard.
John Howard?
Prime Minister of Australia.
Really?
Because he changed the economy of Australia. Australia was such a backward country with all these socialist measures and so on. John Howard came and changed everything. And Australia's prosperity, even today, I would put down to John Howard. Oh. These people are doing well, but John Howard really started the game. And that's one hero that I have. Then I have, of course, so he's a man he had written it, Lazarus Rises, John Howard. Lazarus, L-A-Z-A. Then, of course, another hero is Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is a man who was at Harvard University. He was doing a degree. After the first year, he dropped out saying, I'm not interested in this thing. He useless. It teaches me nothing really. And he set up Microsoft. He was not a millionaire. He had a few $100s. With Paul Allen, he set up this industry and he became the richest man in the world. And see he has created hundreds of thousands of jobs all over the world. And see the convenience we have with our work, with all this. So that's the second man. And third man is Lee Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan Yew from Singapore. Is it because of his economic policy?
Exactly. He converted a third world country into a first world country. I think he made a big difference to Asian countries. Asian countries were backward. And he changed the whole thing. That is the first US was next. First Asian country to become a really prosperous economy. And that is, I put all that to Lee Kuan Yew. Not that I agree with all the methods that he used, but he did the job. He got the result.
The four Asian tigers.
You got to admire the man for that.
Yes, I agree. I'm planning on reading some books about
I read both his books.
Oh, you've read both his books?
Yeah. If you want to read those books, I can lend them to you.
I'll be more than happy to take them.
One is from first world to third world. Okay, I'll bring that for you. You tell me when you are going to visit the university next. I'll give the book to you. Okay. And you can read it and return it to me.
Excellent. So, guys, if you want to read anything about Lee Kuan Yew, I'll leave it in the description. Yeah.
Lee Kuan Yew is fantastic.
So, Lee Kuan Yew, Bill Gates, and John Howard.
Those are three people I would any day recommend. I have all the three books.
Wow.
It's worthwhile reading them because they have done some wonderful things for those three countries. And Bill Gates, of course, for the world, I would say. He's changed the whole world with how things are done and so on. And see the amount of charity he's doing.
Philanthropy.
He has given virtually his entire fortune as charity. Do you know that? He's given enormous quantities of money.
Yes, yeah.
So he made money, he did a service to society, and now he is also involved in charity.
Yes.
That's great. So I would recommend those three books to anybody.
He's part of the Giving Pledge as well with Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett?
Yes.
He said, I made all this money, now I'm giving.
Yes,
he's giving so much money. They are great people. They are people who change the world. Warren Buffett's father was a stockbroker, you know that, right? Stockbroker. And see the man, how much he has gone forward.
And a very deep thinker as well. He
Deep,
reads so many
very,
books
very
as well.
deep thinker. Very
Exactly.
deep thinker.
Yeah. So Gamini, as a former professor, you are a former professor, but here you're the senior lecturer, and you always research and find new material for students.
For students.
Correct, Econ 151 and
All the
152.
time I look for new material, all the time. Even the newspaper, when I read, I tell my wife, just make sure you tell me all the good articles for economics. So she'll tell me, Prime Minister does this, or some researcher said this. So she keeps articles, then I print them out. And then I put it on the canvas.
Somewhere right here. So is your wife an academic as well?
She's a mathematician.
Mathematician.
She taught mathematics for 25 years. Then she came here, and then she stopped teaching after that.
So now looks after you and...
the kids are gone. They have grandchildren now. Yes.
Oh, brilliant. So you were a professor before across all these countries.
Correct, yes, that's right.
What made you choose New Zealand at the end of the day?
First was the problems in Sri Lanka. We had to leave because of these riots and all these murders and so on. We said, let's get out. And we said, let's go to a place where we can educate our children. My elder son was 15 and the younger one was 13, 2 years difference. I said, right, this is the time. They have to go to university in one of these days, so let's go to some place. When I was thinking of going to Australia, America, England, I liked England because I had my education there, postgraduate. Then this my friend's friend, Brian Shackleton, a New Zealander, was visiting Sri Lanka. He was a migration consultant. So my friend introduced me to him at dinner, and I was talking about, I want to leave Sri Lanka. He said, why don't you come to New Zealand? I'll get your papers through straight away. So then we spoke to him. We came to Singapore, to his office. He had an office in Singapore. We had a little interview, and he took down various things. 2 weeks later, I had PR. And then we said, we go there. That's all. We never knew anything about New Zealand. We knew so much about Australia. We knew New Zealand a little bit because they played cricket, that's all. It's an unknown place, We knew Australia, we knew America, England, New Zealand was an unknown place.
New Zealand where?
Where is that? Where the hell is that? We knew South Korea.
Yeah. My birthplace.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So then afterwards, did you end up at the University of Auckland immediately? Or
No, first I came. Then I joined an organization called Transit New Zealand.
Transit New Zealand. And
I was the chief economic and business officer. I worked there for 3 months. I never liked it. I'm used to teaching.
Yes.
I didn't like reporting to work at 8:30 and be seated there till 4:30. I come here for a lecture. I go home straight away. So I wanted that freedom. So then I started looking for a job. Then Massey, there was a professor from Sri Lanka earlier. I just called her, lady. She said, Gamini, come along. We fixed you. So I was temporary there. When I was working there, then AUT contacted me. And I got friendly with Jeff Perry, who is now the Deputy Vice Chancellor there. He was head of department at that time. And he said, Gamini, why don't you do some teaching for us? So then I started teaching there and Massey both. Then Jeff Perry introduced me to John Small here, who was the head of department here. And it was 19 something, I can't remember. Because they were looking for somebody. And then I got the work here. So then I started teaching in all 3 places. So the only way to do that was I couldn't be full-time. So they made me 0.9 lecturer here and paid me 0.9. Because that's the only way they will allow me. Otherwise they say you can't.
Yeah.
So I teach at Massey. I teach at AIS, which is a private place. So I like the teaching, I get a lot of satisfaction. You won't believe the amount of satisfaction I get. At the end of a class, when they are smiling, they have grasped the subject and they have got a good grade and passed, and they got a good job. I feel satisfied. I feel I have done something great in my old age, you see.
And you have, and you will continue to do so.
I've done it to so many people. And I know lots of people love me. Lots of students love me. I know that.
You must be proud.
I know lots of them love me. When they see me, I know the way they smile, I know.
Yeah, I'm smiling right now.
How much they love me. So it's about satisfaction.
Mm.
So I'm one of those rare, lucky people to do a job which I like to do and gives me a lot of satisfaction. For some people, the job is a real pain.
Mm.
They do the damn thing because they have to do it.
And earn money.
But I'm not doing that for that. You know, Ken Lee, Dean, head of the MBA at AUT. I'm doing AUT MBA now.
Yes.
He asked me to come and work. He said, Gami, we'll pay you so much, but I know you are not doing it for the money. I said, yes, the money is useful, but I get a lot of pressure doing it. So the money is there, of course, but I get a lot of pressure doing it. I really love teaching. I really love teaching.
Fulfilling career. So Gamini, a lot of people know that at an old age, you are in exceptional health.
Yes, I
You know, you guys, Professor Gamini walks up the stairs at the ONG Glen building every single day. He, exercises and walks, and you're phenomenal. Like, how do you do this?
I'll tell you why. I eat good food, right? I don't follow the medical people strictly. I eat eggs and I eat steaks, and they think they are bad. I don't believe in this cholesterol problem. I don't believe in it. My own view is that this cholesterol is a big racket between medical specialists and pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer Dumex. I have read so many articles on it. So I have some high cholesterol, but I have never worried about it. The second is, I feel the most important thing is have good food, sleep well, and exercise. I walk 8 kilometers every day in 50 minutes. When I go home, I do the walk, the same path. And I climb the stairs, as you know, of course.
Yeah, I walked with you today.
Up to 10 floors I climb. Anything beyond that I take a lift, of course. And you know the funny thing? Once I went to see a patient of mine, a friend of mine, who had a heart operation. And he was on the 10th floor of Mercy Hospital. So me and my wife, we had to go and see him. I told my wife, you take the lift, I'll climb up. I climbed up the 10 floors and we went to see him. And he said, Gamini, why were you not with your wife? I said, no, I was climbing the stairs. He said, why? I said, I always climb the stairs. You know what he said?
What did he say?
He said, every cardiologist in the hospital never takes the lift. They take the stairs. Cardiologists are the heart specialists.
Yeah.
And the next one is, I am very content. I don't crave for this, that and the other. I don't crave to buy the latest television set or the best possible car or anything. I have a small car, a Suzuki.
Yeah.
I don't have a Mercedes-Benz.
No.
I'm not worried about any luxuries. I like to travel, of course. That's the only thing that I really spend on. I like to travel. I don't have any luxuries. Even dress, I don't care very much. Actually, most of these shirts I wear, they are given by friends. My daughters-in-law, my grandchildren and so on. They give them to me, my friends and so on. Even this was given to me by my poker friends.
Your poker friends gave you this shirt.
Yes, my wife told me when I was wearing it today. So I'm not interested in anything. So as a result, I'm very content. When I go to bed at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, just like this, I have fallen asleep because I have no worries in my head. I think that is the main reason for my good health. I don't worry about anything. If I lose something, I just forget it. I lost, so what? There are other things in life. I don't crave to get this or that. Some people are craving to get this or that. I have no such craving. I have what I want, you see. So I don't want all these nice things. A lot of people want various things. They want to show off to other people. I'm not interested what people say about me. I always say, my students respect me for my work, not the way I dress or the car I drive or what I eat. No, they respect me only for me, what I am.
And for who you are.
Yeah, so I don't care about this. So as a result, I have no worries in my head. My children are settled and so on, so I'm happy about those things. If they had failed or something like that, or if one became a criminal or something, I would worry about it. I have no such worry, so I sleep well and I don't think about this or that. I watch a little bit of television, I play cards and I talk, I read. So I think that is why I'm in good health.
So you just enjoy and sort of live with gratitude and contentment.
The main thing is no worries. I think reason number one is contentment. I'm always a content person. I'm happy.
So forget about the mistakes or the stuff that you lose.
Everybody loses something. Everybody makes mistakes. And we learn by our mistakes.
Good point.
It's a learning process all the time. So what can you do?
I agree 100%,
Yeah,
and
right.
I hope to follow your wisdom myself as well.
Good, you should do that. The main thing is to stop worrying. Worrying is the main thing that causes ill health. It's the worry. If you don't worry, you can live up to a ripe old age, fit.
Fit.
Yes.
Course.
Don't just live, you have to be fit.
Yeah.
You don't want to be paralyzed on one leg or one hand or something like that.
Or in a bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, Gamini, what are your habits and micro habits like to daily? I know that you wake up at the same time every single morning.
Yes, by 6 I'm up in the morning. Then, of course, I have my breakfast straight away and I come to work. In the evening after work, I go for a walk. Every day I do that one. Saturday, Sunday also I do that. Friday we play poker. Saturdays, invariably, we have a dinner at some place or the other, or we have a dinner at our place for those people who give us dinners. So it's a return thing. And that's going on most of the time on Saturdays. I might go to the cinema, once a month, once in 2 months maybe, or once in 2-3 months sometimes. I travel a bit, of course. I like traveling whenever I have a chance.
In Sydney? Your children are in Sydney? Or?
My eldest son is in Sydney.
Yes.
The other one was in Singapore, but he has come back here.
Yep.
So I travel a bit, because I enjoy traveling. Sometimes I go to Sri Lanka. Other than that, I have no habits as such. There is no specific time I sleep at. Normally around 9:30, 10 I go to bed. I sleep till about 6. I have enough sleep. Poker nights, of course, it's a late night. Or if I go to a party, it's a late night. But I sleep well. Yeah, I have no very special habits that I have to talk about, you see, except this poker every Friday.
Yes. Poker. Poker. Oh, goodness. If you had to suggest 3 books to students like myself, what are they? Do you have a list?
Those are the 3 books.
Yeah, you wrote it down.
I told you.
Yes.
John Howard. No, first Bill Gates' book.
Yes.
Where did I write it down? Yeah, first this man, Lee Kuan Yew.
Yes.
Third World to the First World.
Third World to the First World.
That's written by Lee Kuan Yew.
Yes.
Bill Gates, The Speed of Thought.
The Speed of Thought by Bill Gates.
Of Thought. Then John Howard, Lazarus Rises. Lazarus. You can take it with you.
Okay.
Lazarus Rises.
I write it down.
Those are the 3 books.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 books I would recommend because they are people who have changed the world. There are 3 people who have changed the world. You see, a lot of people have followed the example of Singapore. Lots of people have followed the example of Singapore.
The economy of Singapore, yeah.
It's Singapore, I say, is a nothing country. It is a piece of land only. It's a piece of mud. But see what they have done to that place. See the things they have done to that place. It's, so many things there and so many people come there. The shopping, the food is good always, eating places and so on.
And the economy itself is not necessarily it's a free market country.
Yeah, it's free market.
Yeah.
Free market. There may be a little bit of a dictatorship as far as the rule is concerned,
Authoritarianism.
Authoritarian.
Yes.
But it's, I would say, a beneficial dictatorship. Not like Kim Il-sung.
Or even Fidel Castro.
Not
Cuba,
Fidel Castro.
Or any
he
other.
mucked up the whole place.
Yeah. With communists.
He mucked up the whole place. Stalin mucked up the whole place.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's a number of books that goes through.
Take China. After Deng Xiaoping came, the whole place changed. Under Mao, people are suffering.
Great leap
See
forward.
what's happened to China. It's the second biggest economy in the world. No, there you go.
What is it now?
USA 19.3 trillion, China 12.2 trillion.
Wow.
That's the GDP. This is what I give to the students.
Oh, yeah, of course. So, Gamini, did you have a low point in your life so far that you possibly overcome? And
the only low point maybe when I had that fall and I had that brain injury.
Yes.
About 3 years back.
You talked about this.
And I was bleeding, I think you know about it. And
Yeah, you
you
told
see
me.
these 2 holes in the head. And I was hospitalized. And that's the only time I was hospitalized in my life. And I had to go through this surgery. So that was a bit of a nervous time, because I had never undergone surgery, you see. So
that healthy.
I was quite frightened, you see. But 1 week I was out of hospital. 2nd week I was lecturing. So perhaps that was the one low point. The second one maybe when I sent my children to England for postgraduate studies, I felt, oh my God, I'm now lonely with my wife. So I had a real pain in my heart at that time, for the first time, children being separated from me. But I overcame that. I thought, no, they're gone to better themselves. I sent them. My younger son went to Oxford. I was very proud when he went to Oxford. I was really proud on that day when he got admission to Oxford. And I spent money for them. They were not scholarships.
Yes.
For the two of them cost me about $70,000 a year.
Wow.
So I was sacrificing lots of my things to make sure that they pay their fees and live there for the 3 years. But I was very happy, you see. But the pain was when they first went there. I felt the loss, they're gone, they're separated from me.
Great father.
Those are the only ones, yes. Those are the only ones.
What did he major in?
Who, they?
Your son that went to Oxford.
My Oxford one did what's called this IT. IT, yeah.
IT, yeah.
My elder one did finance in Norwich.
Both close to
Yeah, both close.
Science.
And they're doing very well. One is at Telecom. He's the IT test manager at Telecom.
Oh.
And the other son is in Sydney. He's in a big company called Pepper. It's a Singaporean company.
Oh, okay.
Pepper. P-E-P-P-E-R.
Pepper, the Singaporean company. Wow. Okay.
So they are doing well. We have grandchildren. I have achieved what I want to achieve.
I see. Yeah. What would you have done if you weren't a economics professor?
I may have become a train engine driver.
Train engine driver.
Or an airline pilot. Those are the two things I like.
Oh, did you like physics?
I love trains and I love traveling in planes. Maybe I will become a pilot. Maybe a train driver. I love to drive trains. When I was in Sri Lanka, we had a big house there, not like here.
Yes.
I had one full room of trains.
Oh.
I had laid a full setup there on tables. There were rail tracks, these lines and so on, signals, and all computer controlled, and where the trains run, cross each other, go under tunnels, go on bridges. And every day I go to work and come back, play with the train for about half an hour. I relax. All the pains go away.
Trains.
That's another madness. It's a madness. Some people think I'm mad.
I think it's cool. I think it's relaxing.
That's my pastime. I love doing that, yes.
Do you still have the model at your house?
Not here. No.
Oh, okay.
This is a small house, no room.
Final question, Gamini. Do you have any advice to students who are either coming into your classes or who are about to graduate? What's number one advice that you give people?
My number one is spend a certain amount of time on your studies, but also make sure you have time for relaxation and socializing. Don't spend all the time on your studies. You must live your life because you have only one life. And you students are young people. You are young only once in your life. When you get to my age, you are not young. You can't do those things like sports and other things when you get to my age. Do those things now. So while being a student, you allocate your time economically. That's what we say in economics.
Yes.
It's a resource. You do your studies for so many hours. Make sure you do all that. But use up time to socialize, to play some game, and when you are young, you can do those things. There is no second youth that anybody has. After youth is middle age, after that is old age. So don't miss your youth.
Don't misuse your youth.
That's
Spend the time wisely.
Exactly.
Got that.
Allocation of limited resources. Plain economics.
You're saying youth is a resource.
Exactly.
Of course.
Time is a resource, you know that.
True, yes. And it's been a pleasure to have an interview with you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Gamini.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
and
so
thanks a hell
much.
of a lot.
No problem.
And I will always remember you as a good student.
Thank you, Gamini. I hope I did better in your Econ 101 class. I should have done that. But have a good day, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
See you.